Hello, this is Mr. Huff, and I want to talk to you about scoring engineering homework. I thought it would be a good idea to make a video of this so I didn't have to explain it over and over and over. So here we go. When we score homework in class, or if I score your work, we will be using some codes to explain what is missing. So this will be a way of giving you feedback that's meaningful. The first one you may see is a Q with a question mark. This means you didn't write the question word for word. And I expect you to do that with every homework assignment. Every homework assignment should also include a drawing or a diagram. So if you see the code DR, that means you're missing a drawing or a diagram. So that's a problem. When you do calculations, I expect three things. You need to have the formula, the substitution, and so then you also need to have the answer written with the appropriate units. I also have very specific format expectations, and you need to know those as well, but we'll talk about that in class as we practice calculation homework. If you see SORL, that means I expected to see skipped lines, and you didn't, so we're taking away points for that. You may also see the code W/A. This applies to written answers. If your answer is not a complete sentence, or if it begins with the word because, it's wrong. Basically, I expect written answers to stand on their own without the question and be clear and concise. I'm looking for clear, concise thoughts that are written where they can stand alone without the question. I should know what you're talking about, even if I don't read the question. You will also see some deductions. These are half a point deductions, and we'll mark those with an X. This means that you showed all your work for a calculation, but your solution is incorrect. That could be you have the wrong number, or you didn't include the appropriate units for the solution. We'll leave that up to you to figure out what you did. You could also see an X on a written answer. Two problems we would see here. It would be a complete sentence, but it would be confusing. So as we read it, we're not sure if it really answers the question or not. It's kind of fuzzy. Or it could just be flat out wrong. So if you see an X on those, that means you're losing half a point, either for the wrong solution or your sentence doesn't address the question. We need to talk about scoring and points. I'm setting a minimum of 10 points per assignment. So I think this is going to be easier to understand if we look at 3 assignments here. So let me move this. For assignment 1, there would have been a total of 5 available points. The student misses 3 points out of those 5. Instead of using 5 total points to calculate the score, we're going to use 10. So they would have gotten 7 out of 10 right, and that would have been a 70%. In the second assignment, it's very straightforward. There could have been 10 points available, and the student missed 3 points, so we would take 7 divided by 10, and that would be 70. And then the third example would be an assignment that had 17 points, and if the student misses 3, that means they got 14 right, and 14 of 17 total would give you an 82%. I'm doing this so that I can assign short assignments but not penalize you for missing 1 or 2 parts. That's the reason I'm doing this. It may be a little confusing. If you need me to explain this in more detail, please come see me. And finally, I want to talk about incomplete work, late work, correcting practice, and zero work. Incomplete work will be scored as though it were totally done and submitted at that time. So anything you leave out will lose the total number of points for everything you left out. So if you only did 1 out of 10 problems, you'll get the points for the first problem, and everything else will be counted wrong because it's gone. If it's late, as in you showed up to class, we're grading notebooks and nothing is in there, then that's a problem. So it's going to be a 0 until you get that taken care of. You have 1 day to bring it to me, and it will cost you it'll cost your score 80%. So if we will take your score, multiply it by 80%, and that will be your new grade. Every day after 1 day is going to be an additional 20 points off. A word about late work. If you know you're going to have trouble completing a work before the deadline, you need to let me know before the deadline and you and I can work something out. If you show up when it's due and haven't talked to me, it's just going to be late. Also, you may make a terrible score on your practice problems and you may want an opportunity to correct those. So what you will need to do is come see me in Tassel or before school or after school and correct those in my presence. And then we will take your new score and your old score, average those two together, and that will be your new score. If you end up with zeros in your daily work scores, then I'll give you a chance to make those up. It has to be done in Tassel. It has to be completed, and it's going to be worth no more than 50% of the original grade. I hope this clarifies some things about how I plan to grade engineering work and the codes I'll be using. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know.